Oh, hey there. I've just been studying this amazing subspecies, plankton.
I'll show you subspecies!
And I think it's hungry. I think we should make plankton some holographic meatloaf. In the cartoon SpongeBob SquarePants, we see Plankton eats holographic meatloaf, prepared by his computer wife Karen. Now, when I watched this as a kid, I thought it was just a funny joke, but now that I am a science teacher, I learned something. Plankton eats holographic meatloaf because plankton is a plant. Bear with me for a moment. There are two types of plankton. There is zooplankton and there are phytoplankton. The SpongeBob SquarePants character Plankton is green, which means he has chlorophyll in him, which means he is a phytoplankton. These are plankton that absorb sunlight and function like plants. Plankton is a very broad term. It refers to any microorganism that cannot propel itself against the current of the water column. It's in a state called planktonic drift. Basically, microorganisms doing their thing, going whichever way the current pleases. There are two categories of plankton, zooplankton and phytoplankton. Phytoplankton eat light and zooplankton eat phytoplankton. Today we are focusing on phytoplankton. I don't have access to the ocean, but I have access to a pond. Yep, there's plankton in the ponds too. So I went and got a jar of water from the pond with this nice greenish tint. Oh hey, this is Leela the science cat. What's up? We have a guest. In this jar, there is plankton. And to prove it to you, let's put it in. Leela, that is meatloaf for the plankton. Down. Good cat. Go down, please. Bye. Phytoplankton, like the antagonist from SpongeBob, consume light for energy, and I have a lot of them in this jar, courtesy of my pond. But first I had to get the phytoplankton from the jar onto a slide. I used a straw as an improvised pipette and made sure to get one of the little green clumps that was floating around. I gently took it and placed it onto the microscope slide. I used the straw wrapper and I absorbed a spare droplet. And then I put the glass cover over top. This spread out the algae water. And then the last step was to put it into the microscope. Very carefully, I placed it in the microscope. Let's take a look into the microscope to see what these guys are all about. As you can see, there's these little bean-shaped creatures in there. They actually resemble plankton from SpongeBob a little bit in their shape and their color. They're just moving around doing their thing, and I'll return them to the pond once we're done with this video. I've secured my plankton, but how in the world do I make holographic meatloaf? Let alone holographic meatloaf that plankton can actually eat. To do this, I bought meatloaf and I put it in the oven at 225 degrees for a while.
3 hours later.
The end result is this: a meatloaf crouton. Sitting in the oven for hours. Still smells decent, actually. Sitting in the oven for hours, this meatloaf dried out and retained its shape. To show you just how rigid this meatloaf is, give it a listen. The reason I did this is to not get a Mirascope dirty. And that brings us to the hologram. This device is a Mirascope. On the inside, it is completely reflective. And when you put an object in this case a toy frog, the light bounces around and it creates a hologram. If you get the angle right, these holograms can be pretty convincing. If you want to see it in person, you can get them for about 10 bucks on Amazon. You may recognize this device from one of Mark Rober's squirrel videos where he had a walnut in there to trick squirrels into pouncing on it. Instead of tricking squirrels, we are going to be feeding plankton. But first, plankton don't eat frogs, they eat meatloaf. You'll have to take my word for it, but I assure you there is a meatloaf hologram right before my eyes. I'm touching the meatloaf, but it's just going right through. But there's a problem. The light source of this mirror is the lights in this room. Plankton are plants, and plants don't survive in room light. If you have a plant in your bedroom without a grow light or broad spectrum light, it's gonna die because the light that we can see is just a very narrow part of the overall light spectrum. So white light is actually made up of a bunch of different colors, but with LED lights like are in this room, we can cheat. We only need to create white light that the human eye can see, not pure sunlight. It uses less electricity and doesn't produce excess heat. The light in this room is great for looking around and finding stuff. It's optimized for our eyes. We need light optimized for plants. Commonly referred to as grow light, this is our answer. Blue light and red light are the most crucial bands of light for photosynthesis, which is the process that plants use to turn light into food for themselves. So we need to put these lights into this Mirascope. But let's see what color those are. You can see it's kind of purple, and I believe that's the combination of the red and the blue light that we're seeing. There's a little sticky strip on the back, so let's peel that off. And install these lights in their new home. As you can see, it's a lot more blue. Does the illusion still work? It does. Folks, we have holographic meatloaf. Voop, voop. We are going to place this on here, this little stand. I'm going to place the plankton on top of that. And there you have it, folks. As we speak, I am feeding holographic meatloaf to plankton in real life. Hey, how's it going? This video took a bit of time to make, but it was absolutely worth it. I love SpongeBob. I love taking fictional things and making them real. I also made a real-life Minecraft pickaxe, and this winter I'll be making a lot of the tools for Minecraft. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. I'm not monetized yet, and it would mean the world to me if you subscribed and watched some of my videos. And hey, if YouTube has the hype feature, I'd appreciate a hype as well. What video should I do next? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much. Have a great one. Bye-bye.